Hi there. So today I'm going to show you my simple vanilla cake recipe. It is a staple in my business. It is the basis of most of the recipes I have in my business. It is popular, it is delicious, it is moist, it's made from scratch, and it is easy to make. So you ready? Let's do it. Hi there. So you've heard this all the time. Make sure all your ingredients are at room temperature before you bake any cake recipe. Oh, why though? Because room temperature ingredients combine better. When you whip them, they trap in air better and you get a smoother batter. So it's important for the overall texture of your cake. But we're human. I have forgotten many times to bring out my ingredients. So here are a few hacks I do when I run into a pinch. For my eggs, for example, if my eggs are straight out of the fridge, I'll place them in a warm water bath and they will come to room temperature very quickly. For my butter, if it's straight out of the fridge, I'll stick them in the microwave for a few minutes and soften them and it's ready to use. And my milk, if it's too cold, straight out of the fridge, I'll place it in the microwave and just spike it for a few seconds until it is nice and lukewarm at room temperature. So are you ready to bake? Let's get it going. Hi! So we've heard this all the time. Always have your ingredients at room temperature before you bake any of your cake recipes. But why though? Well, room temperature ingredients combine better. When you whip them, they trap in air better, gives you a smoother batter and an overall a better texture. So it is important. We're human. I always forget sometimes to bring out my ingredients. So when I run into trouble, when I'm ready to bake and I have cold ingredients, here are some of the things I do. For my eggs, if my eggs are straight out of the fridge, I'll place them in a warm water bath and they'll come to room temperature very quickly. For my butter, if it's too cold, straight out of the fridge, I'll stick them in the microwave for a few seconds and soften them and they come to room temperature very quickly too. For my milk, I do the same thing. I'll stick it in the microwave for a few seconds and get it to room temperature. So you ready? Let's bake. I have showed you this recipe on my social media platform, but I've never really shared with you how I make it in my business. So here it goes. I use 350 grams of granulated sugar, 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 3 large eggs, a 1/4 cup of vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract. Yeah, did I hear you say that's too much? Don't say that. Anything less, then it's not vanilla cake. Trust me, pure vanilla extract is the truth. 325 grams of regular flour. I do not use cake flour for this recipe because by itself it is a nice moist cake. So 325 grams of regular flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. I use sea salt. These ingredients by themselves create a very delicious vanilla cake. But if I want to take it a step further and make it even more moist, then I will add a 1/4 cup of oil. I use canola. So these are the ingredients I use in my vanilla cake. So let's get to it. So the ingredients I showed you makes one batch of my vanilla cake recipe. This recipe is very easy to double, triple, quadruple, however big you want it to go. It's easy to do. It doesn't change the outcome. So now I'm going to make a double of this recipe. So I'm going to place in the bowl with my sugar the butter. Since I'm doing a double recipe, I'm going to use 4 sticks of butter. Of course, my butter is cold, so I need to get it to room temperature. What I prefer to do is I like my butter very, very soft, almost liquid. So I've microwaved the butter And now it's pretty soft. So I'm going to add the butter to the sugar. And using the paddle attachment, we're going to mix. Once it is mixed, we're going to add the eggs. So I'm going to turn down the speed and add the eggs one at a time. We're going to continue to mix this until it is nicely incorporated together. If you're going to add oil, this is the time you add it. I usually do not like to add oil during the summer months because the cake by itself without the oil is moist, and the oil just makes it even more moist. And in the summer months, because it's so hot out, I need a little bit of stability. So usually in the summer months, I will not add oil to my vanilla cake. So since I'm going to add oil today, I'm going to add it now. For one batch, you use a 1/4 cup of oil. And for 2 batches, you're going to use 1/2 cup. Now you continue to mix until it is completely incorporated. Stop in between to make sure I scrape. I would at this time add my vanilla. I'll scrape it one more time. So once it is mixed, we're ready to add the flour. So I'm going to add my flour. This flour is already sifted. And here I have my baking powder, baking soda, and my salt. I'm going to sift it into the flour because I want it smooth and well incorporated into my flour. And then I mix it thoroughly to make sure it is all incorporated into the flour. So I'm sure you're wondering, what liquid are you going to mix it with? So this recipe calls for buttermilk. I make my own buttermilk. You can make yours too, or you could buy it in the store. It doesn't take much time to make it all. I make it as I go. All I need to do is place my white vinegar into my milk and wait about 5 minutes, and my buttermilk is ready. To make a cup of buttermilk, you will need 15 ml of vinegar, white vinegar, and you will top it off with 225 ml of regular milk. Now that you know how to make buttermilk at home, for this recipe, we need 355 ml of buttermilk. So since I'm doing a double batch, I have here 710. But for one batch, you only need 355 ml of buttermilk. So now we're going to add our flour mixture into our butter and sugar mixture. So we're going to do it in 5 parts. Flour. We're going to do flour in 3 parts and milk in 2 parts. You don't want to mix it for too long. You're going to add half the buttermilk. And once it's incorporated, you're going to add a 1/3 of the flour. Make sure I get to the bottom. The other half of the buttermilk. The last 1/3 of the flour. Because you do not want to overmix, once it is incorporated, I stop. I still see some of the flour mixture on top. I can mix those in by hand. So now I'm going to stop. So you never ever want to overmix. This is a lot of batter, so I like to scrape all of it off with my fingers, wearing a glove. This is good cake right here. Now I'm going to mix by hand to incorporate the rest of that flour because I really do not want to overmix this batter. Once that's done, I'm going to let it sit for 15 minutes before I fill my pans and before I bake. So I let it sit for 15 minutes just to let all my ingredients incorporate well into each other. I'll do a quick turn. And of course I have a nice smooth batter. And I'm ready to fill my pans. For cupcakes I use an ice cream scoop. So now you distribute your batter into your pans. However way you like to distribute your batter is up to you. I prefer to use a cooking spoon. For each of my cake pans, I have a certain number of spoons I will scoop into the pans. Some people prefer to weigh their pans. That is a great way to do it. But I find this way efficient and faster for me. So these are 5-inch pans. Each 5-inch pan will hold 3 scoops of my batter. I'm ready to place them in my preheated oven at 350 degrees. These will bake for about 20 to 30 minutes because they're smaller pans. I'll set my timer for any of my cakes for about 30 minutes. It all depends on how full my oven is. So if I fill the whole oven with pans, I always start at about 30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, I'll go back into the oven and check. And if I need, I usually don't rotate any of my pans. Again, remember, we're using a conventional electric oven where the heating element is at the bottom. So I find that the pans at the bottom usually will cook faster. And as they cook, I take them out until everything is cooked. It is at 350. So now I'm ready to fill my oven with some cake. And I'm going to set the timer at 30 minutes. See you soon. We have 4 more minutes before it's 30 minutes. So let's see. As you can see, our 5-inch vanilla cakes are ready. They're nicely baked. So we're going to take that out of the oven. Cake layers are ready. They're nice and cool right out of the oven. So I let them sit for a little bit and allow them to cool before I remove them from the pan. And they come out very easily from the pan. It smells really delicious. And we also have here our cupcakes that we made from the same recipe. Of course, these were baked on the lower temperature, 290, and they bake slower. They bake for about 30 minutes. So our vanilla cake recipe is nice and easy to make. It is delicious. It smells amazing in here. Simple, moist, and delicious. You get beautiful cake layers as well as beautiful cupcakes. Same recipe for the cupcakes and for the cake layers. You get nice flat tops, moist cake, and these were ready to be decorated. So I hope this helps. I hope you have fun using this recipe. It is a staple in my business and my clients love it. I hope you love it too. I'll see you in our next lesson.